Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
PD Beats here from Popternative, speaking to Bea Ortiz about American Carnage, which is going to be available July 15th on VOD and in theaters. Welcome to the show. Thanks so much for your time.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
I'm excited to chat with you. This movie is something else. This is a crazy film, and one of my favorite things about it, I had a chance to watch it. I mean, one of my favorite things about like content these days, Bea, is the genre bending. And I feel like
yes, you beat me to it. So I'm so excited to speak with you because I know on your show you talk about genre bending a lot. So I'm like, that is what American Carnage is. So we have a lot to talk about.
Did the genre bending like hit you when you read the script, or was it only when you started kind of shooting it and getting into it basically?
It was clear from the moment I read the script, because there is a lot of humor that's woven into it, and especially Alan Maldonado's character Big Mac. He was hilarious, and he did such a great job with that. But I was a little bit jealous too, because I'm like, I want to kind of play that character and be the comedic relief. But it definitely was apparent from reading the script. So I was really curious, like from the moment of auditioning for it, because I hadn't seen anything like that before.
No, absolutely. It's interesting because I've had this debate a few times now, and I feel like there's people have different kind of opinions on this, but I feel like genre bending, it's becoming like a trendy thing. Like everyone wants to do it. I don't feel like in the 2000s, like someone woke up in the morning, Bea, and was like, oh, I want to make a action horror thriller. Like, I don't feel like that happened. So do you feel like it just happens, or do you feel like people kind of plan genre bending?
I can only, I guess, speak specifically to this movie because I have a lot of thoughts on that as well across the board. But I was thinking how, this movie deals with a very like harsh reality of our world in the United States, of these separation camps. And that's a reality that we already know and that we've already experienced and we've seen. And so I think that what this movie does is kind of take that reality that we know well and kind of like flips it on its head and challenges it to the utmost extreme. So using those very real world like historical moments and kind of, in a commentary way, or exploring just what else could happen with this moment. And so I think that, and especially with the comedy aspect of it, it kind of gives you a lot more to think about and to digest something that is so cruel and harsh.
Can you, without going into big spoilers, I find it so hard sometimes to like do these interviews where like I've seen the movie, you read the movie, like we don't want to, but it's not out yet, and it's like, what are we talking about? What can you tell us about American Carnage without like big reveals or anything?
Well,
the story.
So the story is about, the governor of California issuing this executive order to arrest the children of immigrants. And a unique opportunity presents itself where these children of immigrants can then, in order to completely wipe that away, volunteer with elderly people. And I know it's tricky with
it is tricky. No, like I think you said enough there for sure. I feel like just people need to see the trailer and they'll be like, okay, I'm in. You know what I mean? Isn't the art of trailers, Bea, pretty crazy too? Like,
I know, I was really interested in how it was going to be cut, and I really like it.
I like it too.
Its own art.
The genre bending thing does not escape my mind because I'm a big horror movie fan, And like my favorite thing about horror movies is like the characters in it that
Yeah.
like they're just like awkward, like they're just awkward and they say something and they're not trying to be funny like on the script, but you laugh, you know what I mean? And then it
Right.
just
Yeah,
naturally
yeah.
becomes genre bending. Like it's so crazy. Is like Bea Ortiz a storyteller? That's what you do basically. Is diving into all these different worlds and transforming into the worlds of American Carnage and doing all these things, is that like the best part of it? Like, but getting thrown into all these different worlds?
Yeah, definitely. Because the possibilities are really,
Endless,
really
yeah.
endless. And when you work with, people that really value collaboration,
Yeah.
it's truly the best feeling in the world, because you can come together with like a specific purpose.
Mhm.
And I was really fortunate enough to be able to work on this project that was created by Latinx creators. The
Yes.
whole principal cast of the movie, we were all Latinx. And so I think that it was like very clear that, we wanted to embody this space and kind of take control of our narrative and kind of explore and play and tell a story in a way that we don't see in popular media. So I think that the genre bending of that was really perfect.
It's not escaping this interview at all. It started right away.
No. Is there like a genre bending company that like, we can get paid for just really nailing that?
It was like an interview I did recently where I was just like, you know what I love about content these days? And the guest was like, what? I'm like, genre bending. And they were like, what?
You're gonna have to come out with some apparel.
I don't know.
Like hashtag genre bending.
It's funny because I've always been passionate about film and TV and everything, and I've always wanted to like make things. And last month, I actually wrapped production on a short horror film that I co-wrote and produced. There might be some genre bending there. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it might be called genre bending.
Maybe it's called genre bending. That is enough. It's so crazy. Actually, to get back to what you were just saying, though, because I find it's very important. We just said Bea. My favorite thing. There's a lot of things I love about storytelling. I feel like the diving into all those different worlds, like you just said, that's really cool. But the access is amazing. Like the fact that people all around the world get to watch all the content. And it kind of, I feel like, has to do exactly what you just said, is stories that were not told are finally getting told.
Yeah.
That's the best part, right?
Right.
Which is amazing. I mean, you can't even have words for it. Like, finally, there's so many things. There's so much more representation out there. And it wasn't there. And now it's finally getting told. You know what I mean? What do you think about all that?
Yeah, I think that it's incredible this time that we're finding ourselves in. Yep. And also, I think that it's something to note that because these stories haven't been portrayed and we haven't seen them in popular media, to kind of give credit where credit is due. And I think sometimes we can be so critical about these stories that are new, but I think it's an accomplishment in of itself that someone was able to put a film like this together and get it made, especially independent feature. And like I like to, whenever I watch TV or film, I really like to be intentional about what kind of lens I'm watching it through.
Yeah.
Whether it's for entertainment, whether it's to learn something, if it's a documentary or something grounded in history, or whether it's for me to expand my thinking and kind of just be open and watching it with that kind of intention.
Documentaries are hot right now, and I just feel like I feel like they've always been hot, but people just love to learn and just like watch things and get acquainted.
Yeah. And I just hope with everyone that watches, the movie, regardless of what they think about it, to really just, if there could be one takeaway that people can have, is just that, this movie was made, and it was addressing something and tackling something that's.
You do a lot of thinking and reflection though after watching it. Like I did for sure. Like I'm watching
That's
this
amazing.
movie.
I love hearing that.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm watching this movie and like, yeah, you said it has some funny moments and everything, but then you get out of it thanks to the genre bending, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, like this is real.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
As an immigrant myself, that was just really something interesting to explore too. And the character that I play is not necessarily mirroring my own personal experience, but to just kind of have like a door that opened that for me to be able to tap into that and kind of question like, maybe this character is not making the same choices that I am making in my life or had made, but since we came from a certain starting point, similar starting point, my character and I, how can I imagine my life going differently? And that's how I was able to really explore that. And it was really fascinating to just completely taking a different approach of like where my life could have gone.
No, absolutely. Very well said. No, that's so true. I'm excited for people to see it because it's coming out soon. Does it like, when does it start kind of hitting you when like your projects are coming out? Because it's weird, right? Like you go film it, then there's like the release dates, and then depending on the scale of the project, there's like those little kind of like waves of like announcements where it's like, okay, this is getting made. And then it's like first look photos, not a trailer, not a release date, photos. And then like, what is it starting to hit, like doing the press? Is that like when it's starting to hit you now that it's coming out, or did it hit you?
Yeah, I mean, talking to you, I think it's hitting me. We filmed this in 2019 in Spain, and we were there for 2 months, and that alone, I'm like, oh, like, mama, I made it kind of thing. Like, in Spain, come visit me. Like, and then I came back to the States, and I was feeling the momentum, very exciting for everything that we had all accomplished. And then the pandemic hit. So I think that
it messed up a lot of things. Yeah,
exactly. And so, because of that, it affected all of us. I didn't really think anything was going to happen, not just with the movie, but at that point, we're all in the same boat of like, we don't know what could happen in this world because this happened and we never expected it to. So I think it's starting to hit me now.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. No.
Just because when the world shut down, like it just seemed like everything kind of just shut down.
I just love how you're like, it's hitting me now that I'm talking to you about it.
I know, this is so cool.
I have one more question before we wrap up, and it's not about genre bending. Or is it? No, it's not. It's not. You were saying before about like indie film and everything, and I find that interesting because I find the term like independent film, and I'm a big music guy, like indie music and stuff. I find it very ironic because like independent is linked to like do it yourself, and it was linked to like smaller budgets and everything, and some like amazing storytellers are doing independent movies, and indie films are becoming the most popular movies ever. And like indie rock bands that I listen to, like Arctic Monkeys, Vampire Weekend, independent rock bands, these bands are playing stadiums. You know what I mean? Have you ever thought about that? That's kind of interesting, right?
I think so. I think that the common ground, I think, of all of those references that you mentioned is just it's people that have a passion and a drive for something, and they take that step of, regardless of whether they have, a studio backing them or like a music agency or company backing them, they take that step to just bet on themselves and take a risk because they think that story is worth telling, or that those songs are worth sharing to help other people. And I think that's really where like indie comes onto the same level.
Absolutely. I always thought about that because you were saying like independent filmmaking, and I'm like, man, like I always think about that, but it's no crazy. Yeah, I see. It wasn't about genre bending. I wasn't lying to you. It was about indie film, which genre bends sometimes. So maybe it was genre bending. Oh my goodness. Let's just wrap this up. Hey, thank you so much for coming on Popternative to chat about American Carnage. This was so great chatting with you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for watching and like your commentary. It's really, I'm really grateful. Thank you.
July 15th, VOD and in select theaters.
Right.
They're going to be able to check that out. People can keep update with you. There's an Instagram account, right?
Yes, which has a lot of me dressing up as characters with bald caps, like Gollum or Uncle Fester. So
It's just your name. Is it just your name or?
It's Bella Ortiz with 2 Z's because, you know, or maybe it's 3. I'm not sure. The original one wasn't taken, or was already taken. So
Absolutely. Maybe it was like a Bella Ortiz.
Yeah.
This is Popternative, youtube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. American Carnage starring Bella Ortiz is going to be available July 15th on VOD and in select theaters. Until next time, this is Bea and Petey Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.